Welcome to Study Loop.
So for this question, I kind of want us to start out with like an understanding of what coral reefs are and what coral uh, is pretty much. But before we get there, if we look at our answer choices, we can go ahead and discount one of them right off the bat, and that is a shallow freshwater, um, which would be in like a lake or a river. Um, I would be hard pressed to imagine any sort of coral reef happening in any of these places. And if you think about, like, let's say one of the most famous examples of um, a coral reef is the Great Barrier Reef, which is just off the coast of Australia, which is in the ocean. So it's a saltwater, not a freshwater biome. So D is out. But now that we have that, we're given three different locations in the ocean, either in shallow ocean water, in the deep ocean, or in the deep ocean but on the surface. Um, so how are we going to figure this part out? Well, let's start out with basically figuring out what corals are. So coral reefs actually begin their lives as corals. Corals are basically tiny polyp things that are related to sea anemones and jellyfish, actually. They are kind of like just floating around, and once they land on a surface, like say this like little outcropping in the ocean, um, they start to form an exoskeleton. And once they root themselves to the ground, they actually clone and start forming exoskeletons all near each other. And the exoskeletons are actually the reefs that you actually see. And these reefs are home to a lot of different organisms that actually make use of them, like fish, algae, um, and the way that these coral reefs actually sort of function is by photosynthetic organisms that also live within them. So in order to get the energy they need, they do actually need sunlight in order for these photosynthetic organisms to get the light they need to carry out photosynthesis. So that means that we can go ahead and discount deep ocean water because in the deep ocean, you're not going to be seeing any sort of sunlight. Um, and now we're back to the question of okay, would it be on a deep ocean surface or in shallow ocean water? Now, the key word in option C is surface. As I mentioned before, these coral polyps need a physical hard surface in order to latch onto if they want to clone and have this cloning produce the exoskeleton, which can't really happen at the surface. There's no place to anchor onto. Um, and in fact, if you think about where the Great Barrier Reef actually is, like I said, it's off the coast of Australia, still in like the shallower ocean water near that continent. So, based on what we know about corals that we've seen in real life or heard about, and also on coral life cycles and how they actually work, I think it's safe to say that A, shallow